iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
This is Kugan Cassius for iFILM London. We're at the Mayfair Hotel for the press conference for Amir Khan's fight on the 15th of December in LA. With me, I've got the CEO of Golden Boy, Richard Schaefer. How are you, Richard?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm liking the design of stubble.
No, I just want to look like you, so.
Yeah, everyone wants to look like me.
I know, it's tough, but I'm trying. Can't blame me for trying.
No. You're looking a bit like Robert Diaz as well.
Maybe.
Richard, Amir Khan obviously makes his return to the ring 15th of December. What sort of mental position is Amir Khan in at the moment after, like I said, a difficult few months where the Lamont Peterson fight, and then he's sort of come over that, and then obviously in the ring against Danny Garcia, and then mentally, what sort of position do you think he's in?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, a question which really hasn't been asked, and I think a question which really can't be answered until the first bell rings. It's one thing to say, yeah, he's okay and everything is fine and he made changes in the team and all of that, but you really only know that how he feels from a confidence point of view once that first bell rings. And I think that's why it's a very interesting fight. And yes, he's not going in with a puncher. I mean, Carlos Molina has a record of 17-0 with 7 knockouts. So this is not about fighting a knockout artist, but he's fighting an undefeated fighter. And we all know fighting an undefeated fighter is a different task altogether than fighting a puncher, because this Carlos Molina doesn't know how to taste defeat. And he's going to come in with that winning mentality, and Amir's going to have to break him down and impose his will on him. Now, with a new trainer in the corner, making adjustments and coming off those 2 losses, I really only say one, because that Peterson fight, Amir Khan, I'm sorry, didn't lose. But still, mentally, is he going to be mentally ready December 15th to break down the will of an undefeated fighter? That's the question here.
Richard, Amir obviously will face any opponent that's put in front of him, but for this fight here, was that behind it? You said yourself Carlos Molina's not a puncher, and was that some sort of factor in his first fight back after the Garcia defeat, that he wasn't going with a puncher, or what was the situation with that?
No, we just felt we wanted to make sure that he fights somebody with which is a real test, a real threat, so it really wasn't really like no puncher or no this or no that. We didn't really think about it because, again, it just is that Molina doesn't seem to be a puncher, but you never know. You look at when we did the fight a few months ago, 6 months ago. 5 months ago, between Victor Ortiz and Josecito Lopez. You look at Josecito Lopez's record, pretty similar actually than from a ratio point of view than Molina from a KO point of view. Not a big puncher, Josecito Lopez, very few knockouts, and yet he was there. He took the punches from one of the hardest hitting guys in the sport, Victor Ortiz. Victor Ortiz dropped everyone in his previous fights, and here he is, Josecito Lopez, taking the best punches. Then what happens? The guy who is supposed not to be a puncher fractures multiple places Victor Ortiz's jaw. So, just because the record seems to indicate that one is not a puncher, you just never know. But we just wanted to put a fight where we know it's going to be an exciting fight. Molina is not one who takes a step back. Molina comes to fight, is an exciting fighter, and the fans will be entertained. That was really the determining factor when looking at the opponents.
And you believe he's made the right decision by switching trainers from Freddie Roach to Virgil Hunter?
Look, Freddie Roach is a great friend of mine, and he's a terrific fighter. His record speaks for himself. He's an offensive fighter, and that's why some of Freddie's fighters are, the most exciting fighters in the world. You look at Chavez Jr., who comes forward. You look at Manny Pacquiao, who comes forward. And you look at Amir Khan. You see it in the training as well, in the workouts, with the mitts and the speed and the he basically, sends his guys in to go toe to toe, and so he's a very accomplished trainer. I think at this point, most importantly, Amir felt that there was more for him to learn from somebody else, but that's not a knock on Freddie. It basically is, hey, Freddie, and he thanked Freddie, I appreciate what I learned from you. Now I want to move on and learn from somebody else. It's like when we went to school, we didn't stay with our first grade or second grade teacher, or we didn't stay with our ninth grade teacher, whatever it is. You move on and you learn different things. And that's what this is. Amir Khan is 25 years young. So there's still plenty for him to learn.
All due respect, I don't think me and you went to school together. You're quite a few years older than me, Richard.
Have.
You could be my dad, Richard.
Okay, well, nice try, though.
Richard, someone you're very familiar with, obviously one of the most popular boxers in the last 15 years in England, obviously Ricky Hatton makes his comeback next month in Manchester. What are your initial thoughts on this? Ricky's someone that Golden Boy are very familiar with, so,
Ricky is a great friend. He's obviously a legend in the sport, and we saw it when his tickets went on sale without even having an opponent announced. He sells out in 48 hours or so, the entire arena. So I'm happy for Ricky, and when you talk to Ricky, you can see he has rediscovered the love for the sport. He's passionate about it again. I think, as he says, the fire in the belly is burning again, and the sparkle is back in the eyes. And it's a different Ricky Hatton. And I think sometimes it's good to take a step back and reflect, and that's what he did. He obviously had some turmoil in his personal life as well. I'm sure that impacted him in the last fight with Pacquiao as well. So now he seems to be in a much better place, refocused, re-energized, and ready to go again. And I'm happy for him, and we wish him all the best. Now, as it relates to the selection of the opponent, in typical Hatton fashion, never did anything the easy way, always the hard way, and that's what he's doing here. He's having a comeback the hard way, because Senchenko is a very, very dangerous and a very solid opponent. But Ricky wants to test his skills, I guess, against this kind of opponent. Obviously, if you sell out the MEN arena in 48 hours, it wasn't about the opponent, it was about Ricky. And Ricky could have gone the easy way and could have picked up anyone. But he goes with this difficult and dangerous former world champion. But Ricky knows if he beats him, he's right back. He can fight anyone. While if he just goes and fights a somebody, what does that really do for him?
Khan versus Hatton, something you'd be interested in next year?
Oh yeah, I think any fight fan would be interested in that. Big fight, maybe one of the biggest fights here in the UK in recent history, but frankly a fight which has tremendous international appeal as well, because both Amir and Ricky are internationally very well liked. Definitely a pay-per-view in the US as well. So a big event, and hopefully a fight which will happen, because I think stylistically a very interesting fight as well. The kind of fight where when you put it together, you're going to have a Fight of the Year candidate going into the fight. I mean, you just know this cannot be a boring fight. And that's why fight fans are asking for it.
And just finally, can you tell us anything about, are we closer to Mayweather-Pacquiao, are we moving backwards? Or?
I'm not going to talk about that. I have a very good relationship with Floyd and his team, and we are having ongoing conversations, but really there is nothing
nothing new to
nothing to say.
All right, Richard, listen, thank you very much for talking to iFILM London. Have a safe flight back to LA, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Kugan Cassius with Richard Schaefer for iFILM London. Thank you very much.